What got you interested in tattooing?
I picked a piece of tribal right off the wall. Went back the next night, got another one. And enjoy your life and not go to work doing a 9 to 5.
We're back at Tattoo Tony's to interview tattoo artist Austin C Pratt.
Hello.
Austin.
Yes.
What got you interested in tattooing?
Well, I played music really young, and I was always into the music videos of our MTV generation, and tattoos were so visible. My dad was a Marine. He had tattoos, and it was very interesting to me. And when I was 16, I got a phone call from a friend of mine, my best friend, who's also a tattooer, Paul Spatola. He wanted to go get tattooed. We went down to this place called the Illustrated Figure on Route 18 in East Brunswick, New Jersey. I picked a piece of tribal right off the wall, and the guy's name was Doug White. Went back the next night, got another one, and I just fell in love with the artistry and the craftsmanship. And Doug was kind enough to explain the workings of the machines to me while I was getting my first tattoo, and I was just so super interested in everything about it, and the lifestyle seemed so appealing, and it was just filled with art. And
right.
It was like you could really do art and live and enjoy your life and not go to work doing a 9 to 5. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it just I knew it wasn't for me. It just didn't fit in for me.
So when you were a kid, though, were you into art a lot? Was it something that was in your soul, so to speak?
Yeah. Well, I mean, to the detriment of a lot of my friends, I would sit in class and draw pictures of them. And
okay.
So did Paul. We were in school together. We would draw he would draw one of our friends is like Freddy Krueger. We just constantly drawing. I remember Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, the Ninja Turtle guys. It was the comics were big when I was young. So I started tracing comics, and then I started drawing, trying to draw them as close as I could. Yeah, it was a big part. I was always drawing and writing. It was a big part of my childhood. Yeah.
So who broke you in the business?
So the first guy that I got tattooed by, Doug White, when I went back the second night in a row, he had just moved into that shop, and he asked me if I wanted to be an apprentice. And it was that fast. And wow. I was just absolutely.
Do you think it was something that he saw in you, where he saw that you were so interested in tattooing?
Probably. I hope so. I mean, I hope he saw some good qualities in me that made him ask me. That apprenticeship went about 5 months. Then I went to the shop to work one day, and it was gone. He just packed up and he left.
Wow.
And that was it. He was gone. And I found out years later he had passed away in an accident. So after that, I worked in the music field. I was doing lighting and design for a while.
Okay.
And I had a friend of mine that knew a guy named Steve Kane, who owned A-List Industry Tattoos in Brooklyn. And he was looking for an apprentice. And I'd been desperate all these years in between to get back into it. I spent a lot of that time just getting tattooed and still learning about tattooing, still drawing and doing all that stuff. And I went down to meet Steve, and Steve was great. And it was a quick interview, and he took me in. And he had me do all the work that we used to do apprenticing, making needles, scrubbing tubes, cleaning the shop every day. So I would work at a bagel store from 5 a.m. to 1, and then from 1:30, 2 o'clock to 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what year was that?
That would have been 2007. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been tattooing about 17, 18 years.
Your math is better than mine.
Yeah.
Right on. So how long did you work for him?
My apprenticeship was about a year, and then he was moving shops, and it might not have been the kind of coolest of exits. It did, he's a great guy. I owe everything that I do to him, but it just didn't end great.
Okay.
And so I went and I was looking on Craigslist back in those days, and there was a shop named Addiction NYC on St. Mark's Place, a guy named Iggy. And I went in there, and they had some good artists working at the time there. I believe I told him something to the effect, I can't do much, but what I do, I will do well, and I will never be late. I will always be early, and I'll stay all day, and I'll come every day. And the guy gave me a chance. I mean, he didn't have to. I know a lot of the artists that were there were kind of pissed that he even hired somebody so green, which I was. I probably didn't deserve to work there. But there was Tom Solomon worked there.
Wow.
There was a guy named Nick, Jess Valentine. There was a lot of people that worked there that were very, very kind to me. Rodrigo Canteras was there, and they were all very eager to like quickly get me where I needed to be to do just the basic stuff. You know
Right
what I
on.
mean? To do it clean and learn to kind of do it the right way first.
How long were you there?
I was there for about 7 years. I don't know if it was just St. Mark's Place. It started to change and things just got a little bit different. And I got an offer to go work for Chuck DeNice at Revolver in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Went to work there for a while. And again, every shop I seem to go to, I don't know if it's luck, but I tend to be surrounded by good people that, because you're never going to stop learning. I mean, every day, working here, you work with Tony. He's been in the industry so long. There's so many kind of pools he has his finger in that you can learn so much from him, whether it comes to like, I've always been interested in tuning machines and building machines, and I've done it. But, when you have something like a room that's dedicated to machine building, it's exciting when you get
It's
to
a
go.
different story.
Yeah, you get to sit with them and you get to work with them, and it's amazing. I can't be more thankful than I am.
So for younger kids that are watching this, I say kids, but younger people
Yeah.
that are watching this, kind of give them some of the highs and lows of you doing your apprenticeship. Like, what did you feel like was a great moment and what did you feel like was a shitty moment?
Well, I mean, if there was apprenticeships like there was when I apprenticed, I could give a lot of advice on that. I feel like the way the apprentice has kind of almost vanished, and people are kind of buying machines online and they're learning themselves. But if we're going to stick to that world, what I would say, the highs are getting to learn every day. You get to learn something. There's not going to be it's going to feel boring. You might get bored at times, but at the end of every day, because you're so new, you're going to learn. You're going to learn something. Whether it's something you hear your mentor saying in the background or something he's yelling at you right in your face, you're gonna learn something from it. Something as, mind-numbing as sweeping and mopping every day. There's a way to mop. There's a way to sweep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not just kind of going there willy-nilly. And that will... These are all tools that are, whether you know it or not, are shaping you
Right.
to become this tattooer that's going to stay hygienic, that's going to stay clean. Mm-hmm. Your work's going to look clean. It's that Karate Kid technique, right? You're washing, wiping cars for 6 months and you don't know why until the day comes where you're like,
Now you get it.
My mentor, every time I was drawing, used to walk behind me and just kick my elbow. And I would just mess up a drawing and I'd be like, I worked 5 hours on this. Then the first time I was tattooing and someone bumped into my chair, my hand instantly went back, jerked back, and you didn't scratch the line. Because from someone coming over and hitting your arm over and over again, you learn to lift that hand up real fast.
Yeah, right.
You learn the motion of someone's body. If they're going to move, you can kind of,
See, so there you go, folks. I mean, we got stuff, quick life lessons that are valuable. I'm a firm believer of no matter what field you're in, if you're getting taught, there's going to be times where you're like, this makes absolutely no sense. But at the end, there's a rhyme and a reason for everything that's being done.
Yep.
Now, we're not going to talk about, the apprenticeships that were like nightmares and, people get abused and whatever. For all the menial tasks that you think are bullshit, there's actually a reason for that.
For sure.
I know that there's a lot of people out there that have heard nightmare stories about apprenticeships. And
Sure.
This day and age, I think a lot of that is gone for the most part.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, during my apprenticeship, I got tased. I got, got shot with a BB gun. But there, you kind of, it was a very different time, and you were so hungry to learn how to tattoo. When I say I owe everything to tattooing, I mean I owe everything to tattooing. The relationships that I've met through it, the fact that I was able to feed a family off of it. I did not go to college. I went right to playing music. I didn't do that stuff. It saved my life. And I think if something saves your life, you really need to put your all kind of back into that thing that saved your life.
Right on,
And,
man.
I try to do that every day. But as far as like the hazing goes in the apprenticeship, I don't think it's necessary. I think you can do the same thing with positive reinforcement. Is your apprentice going to mess up on occasion? Sure, they're going to mess up, and you got to have a stern talking with them. There's certain levels we don't go to anymore.
Yeah.
But I think you can really get the same result out of having like good relationship, positive reinforcement when they do something really great, and the truth when they do something really bad. If that doesn't work, then maybe tattooing's not for them.
You've been to a bunch of different shops. You've obviously got a great background where you've been taught by different people. What would you say is your style of tattooing if you have it?
Starting in street shops, you kind of you go into this place where you're forced to kind of do all kinds of styles in the beginning, and you're forced to do all kinds of different work in the beginning. I was saying before, I didn't have an appointment book for like the first 5 years of my career. You went to work, you did what came in the door.
Right.
But what I developed and what I really enjoy to do is black and gray work, soft shading, a lot of stippling work. I love doing floral prints, mostly black and gray. I do color work. I love doing it, but black and gray shading,
For the people out there that are watching that maybe, work at a shop right now that's slow or, an apprenticeship even.
Yeah.
On downtime, I mean, what's your go-to? What do you suggest people do?
Whatever field you're in, if there's downtime, you should really focus on the field that you're in. If you're in a tattoo shop and there's nothing going on, draw something, paint something, fix a machine. I know the era of the coil machine has somewhat come to an end in many ways, sadly. And there's nothing wrong with using the newest tools for the trade. I don't hate on it. But there is something to building your own coil machine and listening to it when you're tattooing and knowing how it runs, how it works. You built it. You put it together. Get invested in everything you can. If there's downtime at a shop, talk to other artists. Go watch another artist tattoo, and go see, because you'll learn. I've learned things from artists that have been tattooing 2 years, tattooing as long as I have. I've learned from artists that have been tattooing for 40 years when you watch them. Something might spark an idea.
Okay.
So just stay invested in your surroundings. I can't tell you how many times it's if it's slow, you look around at all like the history of Flash that are on the walls here, get inspired by a piece.
Right on.
It'll give you an idea to do something maybe original off of that.
So if you were to have somebody come in here that wanted to be a tattoo artist, what would be your advice to them?
Well, I mean, I can give a couple of answers to that question. It seems like the industry is oversaturated with artists right now, or people trying to become tattooers. If your work is real strong, if your work on paper and you've drawn a lot, you come in with a portfolio, go get tattooed by some people. Go to a bunch of different shops, find an artist that you're comfortable with, see if they're willing to apprentice you. You know what I mean? But definitely have your ducks in a row. Don't just show up without a portfolio. Don't show up without work that you've done. There's so many people wanting to tattoo these days. You really have to stand out. I don't know what it was about me that my mentor picked me. Maybe it was because I showed up on time and I was willing to just work. Now, I don't think that's enough. I think you have to come in real special to give an apprenticeship.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you equate it to the guys that are professional football players, let's say, right?
Yeah.
And like Tom Brady, as much as I'm not a fan of the dude, you got to respect him.
Yeah, sure.
But he would also always say, like, he was the first one at practice. He was the last one to leave the weight room. Like, he realized coming out of college that, he wasn't a number one pick. So it was, show up early, be the last to leave. Like, he was like, I had to work 110% for the people that were working 100%.
Right.
And to me, when I see successful artists now, it seems like they're the ones that are doing the 110%.
You have to. I mean, I remember when I started, we got to the shop at noon. I didn't leave till 2 a.m.
Right.
I was there for 7 years, all day, every day. Piece came in somebody didn't want to do, and it was something I was capable of doing. Absolutely, I'll do it.
Right.
You really got to stay hungry. You can't let that passion for what this is. things over time can kind of get stale. You're doing it every day. Even something as beautiful as tattooing, there's days you come in and it's a job. You know, until you start tattooing, then you're like, that all goes away and it's just you and the tattoo.
Right,
you
right.
know, that's for me. This is a coping mechanism with life. When I sit down with a client, it's just the two of us, and you get to shut everything off and just focus on the work that you're doing.
Right. It's about the experience, not the tattoo.
No, it's about having a good relationship, making someone feel safe, comfortable, and building a relationship to where you're going to see these people. I have clients that, you know, I introduce to each other and are married with kids, and you go to their weddings, and it's
that's awesome.
It's great to see these people over all these years and see them grow and develop as people. Unfortunately, you lose some, you know, which is awful. That's a whole other feeling. You know, when people you tattoo die, you're connected in this way. Tattooing connects you, and you lose them, and it's hard. But you get all the beautiful moments where people get married, they have kids, they live a great life, and you see this blossom over time, and it's kind of cool. You know?
Right on. Which brings me to my next point.
Yep.
So back in the day, you know, the old school guys, they were almost kind of carnival barker type.
Yeah.
You know, Burt Grimm would always be like, hey, you know, I'm the greatest tattooer in the world, doing self-promotion, however he could do it. So, you know, typically word of mouth. 70s and 80s roll in, you had, you know, magazines and stuff like that.
Yep.
Early 2000s, we have TV shows, you know, that come out.
Yeah.
Now, the TV shows are still kind of there with Ink Master and whatever. Social media seems to be the new tool to promote yourself as an artist.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's a good thing or a bad thing?
On social media, you're going to post the best of your best. I had an idea that I wanted to try that I was talked out of, where I was going to post every single thing I did every day for a year on Instagram. And a friend of mine was like, you know, not that there's a bad tattoo, but it might not be like, it might be a small piece of lettering that people are just going to pass by and not like. Social media, it's a good tool. I think the best tool is the oldest tool, which is the tattoo itself. You know, a tattoo is worth 1,000 business cards. You know, that person's going to remember your name. Oh, who did that tattoo? And they're going to say the name, and they're going to say where they got it. They had a great experience. What I rely on more than social media, I'm not super knowledgeable with the internet and social media. I don't particularly like it. I don't like doing it. I find it a chore. I find it something that takes me away from tattooing. It's a chore to do it. But on the flip side of that, you do a piece that you're so excited about, and you want to share it with everybody, you know, because you're proud of it. And you know, there's like 1,000 pictures on my Instagram, and it's like I'm proud of all of those. I'm proud of every tattoo that I do. There's just, you know, some that you post rather than post others, because you start to get into this place of like, what are other people gonna like?
Right.
That's what I don't like about it.
Yeah, but see, here's the flip side of that too. Is, you know, if you're in a street shop like this, where somebody can walk in, and that's what the customer wants. Yeah, it's not always going to be the greatest design.
No, and
so in my book, that's not something I would post.
No, me neither. I mean, when it comes to a tattoo and someone's sitting with you, the greatest design is the design that they're going to wear forever. So it's that one right now. You know, if they want to get a simple letter, a simple shape, are you going to do that shape super clean? Are you going to give them a really awesome tattoo? Because that's just as important as doing a portrait to me. And listen, when someone comes in and they, you know, that old trope where they ask for just something simple, I just want to get a circle on my wrist. And you're like, just something simple, huh? It's not that simple. Try drawing a perfect circle. So when you get to do one of those, it's rewarding. It's exciting, you know. So treat every tattoo like it's the only one in the world when you're tattooing.
It just, I had a mental vision of the meme that goes around where it's like about why didn't the tattoo artist post my picture? And it's crying.
Yeah. Well, we don't post it not because it's a bad tattoo, just because, and also you take so many pictures, you know, you might do a tattoo today and not post it until 6 months from now. So give it some time. It'll get posted.
Yeah, you know. Don't get bent, folks.
Yeah, please.
And he loves YouTube, by the way.
I do.
Anything that I didn't ask you that you feel like you need to say or bring up?
No, I'm just really appreciative that you would even take the time out of your schedule to interview me. I think it's great, and I'm proud to be on with you.
Nah, man. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Appreciate
Thank
you,
you so much, man.
Thank you.